right to the apology because I think the big surprise for me was that he threw it out there. Remember, there's still one civil case that is pending that has not been settled. And you would think that Busby is going to really sink his teeth into a public apology.
Oh, that's going to get settled.
So it likely is, and they know it, but I think the number just went up.
Yeah.
I think whatever that settlement number is probably went up because you're apologizing for something. And this is a huge departure. This is the first time, really, that we've seen Deshaun show any remorse. And remember, in the commissioner's comments last week, he said, and Sue L. Robinson felt like that there was no remorse on his behalf. So this is a complete pivot midway through or late in the game. What did you guys make of it? Jason, you could start.
It was incredibly, it felt structured. It felt scripted. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, let's just call it what it is. And I think Aditi handled it well. Like, you know, Aditi's in a really tough spot there.
Very
She's in a really tough spot.
Because it did beg a follow. Sorry for what?
And she's a journalist trying to be a journalist
while
wearing a Browns logo on her shirt. And
tough spot.
Let's just acknowledge the elephant in the room. When the Browns are cashing your check, when they're signing your check, it really puts you in a difficult position in terms of what you can ask, how you can ask it. It was only 3 questions.
I've been in that room, by the way, as that person.
It's tough.
She's working for the Browns at that point.
The temperature in the room is very apparent. You know, she's not going to drill down and say, what exactly are you sorry for, Deshaun?
Right. You can't.
You can't do that. And she handled it I think she handled it as well as she could have.
Right.
She's a complete professional. It was somewhat cringeworthy. I felt bad for her.
Yes.
Because I know she's doing the math in her head. There were follows that were coming to her.
Oh, of course.
And she had to slam on the brakes. But I thought she handled it very, very well.
The whole thing, though, felt to me like this is his Hail Mary to try and get on the field this year.
Yep.
Because his agent comes out, well, I shouldn't say his agent, but there's a report last week that through the Associated Press that he's willing to take 8 games.
Right.
Okay. So that is like negotiating publicly, trying to see what we can get here. Now this apology, this half apology, somewhat remorse.
Desperate.
It's like him trying to salvage the back end of this season. I don't think it's going to work. I think we're probably not going to see Deshaun again until 2023. But this was his attempt. This felt to me like this was his attempt to try and get on the field at some point this season and saying, okay, I'll do whatever you guys need me to do. I'll say whatever I have to say. I got to try and get on the field.
Did you guys see it the same way?
It's catch-22. We talked about this before. I've always told people, it don't matter what he do. Like, it don't matter if he pay him off. It don't matter if he say he's innocent. It don't really matter if he give a statement and say he's sorry. There are going to be factions of people that don't really care about none of that. He's going to be what they say he's going to be, period. At the end of the day, he can issue the apology and the statement, but I'm not in the business of guessing how contrite you are about that. Once you get into how contrite you are, or who made you say it, right? I think it's one of those things where
did it feel forced to you?
I think they told him this is how we gonna move. See, here's the thing: when you dealing with time, and when you dealing with a legal system, and you dealing with civil cases they ain't even settled, he had to say what he gonna say. No lawyer's gonna let you come out and say, hey, you know what, G. Bush, I know you're in trial for murder, and I said, well, I'm remorseful for the family because I never really meant for them to be in this situation. They gonna say, whoa, you can't. What you remorseful for? They gonna take that and use that. What you mean? So in a situation now, remember before it was the counseling, right? He said, would you think about going to counseling? An admission is saying you going to counseling means you got a problem before you sign 24 cases. So this all played out the way it was going to play out. I think the league, I think the Browns, I think Deshaun Watson said, okay, this is my attempt to put it past me, continue to keep moving.
Did he look desperate in your eyes? Did the whole apology?
Well, I mean.
Because there was the 8-game thing that came out earlier in the week, and then the apology. When you put all that together, does it seem to you like he's a desperate man, knowing what the league wants, or at least what the commissioner wants, and he's trying to do whatever he can to save his season?
Anytime you're a black man and you're against the 8-ball, you always desperate. You live desperate. Desperation is in your bones. What are you talking about? He already went through 2 grand juries, right? That means your freedom is gone. They talk about indefinite suspension. Like, I can't never play again. I don't know when the next time I'm going to get opportunity to play.
Right.
Hell yeah, he desperate. He like, yo, this is my life we talking about. My reputation, my family, all of that begs for desperation. And any person in that level, whether you white, black, red, whatever, you will be desperate to do what you can do in order to get your life back and try to at least get back to some sort of normalcy.
Bull?
Guys, yes. Did he not seem genuine to me? Without knowing for sure, he did not seem genuine. However, is it possible he just seemed not genuine because he was nervous or uncomfortable or people wanted him to do it, and maybe he did feel some remorse but didn't feel comfortable expressing it? I don't know.
Right.
But here's what I'm frustrated about with this whole situation. Much like everything else in this country, it's very polarized, and everybody's taking their camp. I'm supporting Deshaun Watson, or Deshaun Watson's the worst person on earth. And that's where we go. And I think that's wrong. I think both sides are wrong. I'm in the middle. I don't believe Deshaun Watson is innocent. I don't believe he's done nothing wrong here.
Right.
I think it's silly to believe he did nothing wrong. I think it's also unfair. I feel like we've gotten to a point in our society where if somebody does anything inappropriate with a woman, that they are all looked at with equally.
Sure.
From touching a woman's hair to rape, it's all just put in the same category, and that's it. And that's absurd. Matt Damon, a year ago or 2 years ago, made a comment similar to what I just said, and he got crushed.
Killed for it.
He got crushed.
Temporarily canceled.
I am not saying that Deshaun Watson is innocent. He based on what I know. Again, I don't know all the facts.
Right.
Based on the information I have, it seems pretty obvious that he crossed the line with at least one woman, if not more, and was inappropriate.
Right.
I also think it's pretty clear he didn't rape anybody. He didn't force anybody to do anything.
And it's pretty clear there's some people who had consensual sex with him.
Yeah, people had some consensual sex with him, and he didn't hit anybody, okay? And I think that's important to note, because I think the way he's been painted by one side is that he's the worst guy ever, and the way he's being painted by the other side is he's completely been railroaded, and none of those things are true.
Were you okay
most
with
likely.
the word predatory? Because that, to me, the word that
I don't
jumped
even like
out
that
from
word.
Sue L. Robinson,
Yeah.
predatory to me has such a negative connotation, and it sounds like that there was prey involved, and he was targeting these women, and there's probably levels to predatory, but the word predator to me, and obviously we're talking about sex, so now you put those two words together, and you can see why Roger Goodell pulled that word out specifically and said his behavior was predatorial.
But we've been pulling them type words out. We real good with catchphrases, right?
Yeah.
Those catchphrases are little things that they throw on you, like, hey, I'm not saying you're lazy, but are you the first guy in, last guy out? Those words have connotations that follow people. When you say predatory, and like I said, Bull was correct. At some point in time, you got to ask a woman who is a grown individual, did you make a bad decision? Because there are people that have reached back out to Deshaun Watson after the first time the encounter happened. Multiple times.
Yeah.
So at what point are we going to stop saying either women are going to be equals or women are going to, the thought process, they don't have a thought process. They're below.
Yes,
you
and I agree.
Grown.
But also, here's the thing. He crossed the line by whipping it out, if you know what I mean, right? And some of the women were okay with it, and some of the women did not want it, and they were really bothered by it. And I don't blame them. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame them. But I don't think the guy should be banned for life for that.
So I think everybody's kind of in your camp.
Yeah.
I think everybody looks at it and says,
but I don't think so, Jay. I think there's people
Well, we're hearing from the vocal minorities on both wings.
Yeah,
and that's the way,
right.
and sometimes that moves the pendulum with public perception, and it shouldn't. But that's the way it is. That's just the way the system works. But I'm wondering to you, you're saying he whipped it out, and everybody seems to have come to that agreement that, this was definitely going on. Sue Robinson says she believes that's what happened.
Right.
Is that predatory behavior? In that setting, with multiple women doing that, does that, in your mind, qualify predatory behavior?
I would call it more, maybe
it's certainly aggressive behavior.
I would say it's inappropriate behavior more than predatory.
I would say that's fair.
Yeah.
If you are looking on any dating app if you're using massages in order to try to hook up with people, that is not a good look. And that's what he was doing. Some of the individuals were excited. Okay, cool, let's do it. Some of them weren't. At the end of the day, when you do that in a place of business, that is misconduct at the end of the day. However, we are going to have to stop saying, like, he forcefully raped people. That never happened.
No.
And so one of the things that we got to be very crystal clear on is your messaging. At the end of the day, I don't got no problem with nobody saying what he did was incorrect or wrong. But one thing that we got to stop conflating is, oh, I had consensual sex with somebody in a place of business, or I forcefully raped that person. And those two things are night and day.
I think what Ben Roethlisberger, people make a big thing of the number. And yeah, he was inappropriate with some of those women, maybe all of those women, right? But what Ben Roethlisberger was accused of is much more serious, even though it's less women than what Deshaun Watson is accused of. And I don't know. And again, when I make this argument, I feel like some people can say, oh, you're just giving him a pass. I'm not giving him a pass. I think he should be suspended. I just think a full season or indefinite is too much.
Well, let's talk about that. You said you believe that it's going to be we won't see him for the rest of the year.
I think he's done for the year.
I'm kind of thinking, guys, and I know I said last week that I believe that there was no way he would step on the field and the league would make some sort of indefinite suspension announcement before 5 o'clock on Friday. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
He was able to play. Today's Monday. Sue L. Robinson's decision came on a Monday. A lot of things like this happen at the beginning of the week or the end of the week. And there are a lot of folks that think it's way beyond time, and we need to get wherever we're going. We need to get
at
there.
This point, yes.
Does anybody have a hunch that today is the day? Am I the only one who's thinking like we should be on extra high alert here? Where are we?
You guys were both at Browns camp this weekend, right? I mean, is there any buzz about it at all?
I hear none.
In terms of a decision, I think we're gonna, just like with the Judge Robinson decision, there were sort of trickles that it was going to come on this day. I don't think it's just going to be bam. I think we're going to get the hints and the trickles and the lead up of.
do?
So I don't think it's going to be today because I think we'd know by now if it was going to be today. I could be wrong on that, but I think that we're going to have some sort of feeling of it's going to be tomorrow, it's going to be Wednesday, it's ahead of time.
You do.
I just think we're going
so
to have
be some prior notice.
I'll be just trying to be honest with you. I at some point in time, this is the fatigue that you get, right? The fatigue that Deshaun Watson gets when he makes a statement is, look, man, even our judicial system has a right to a speedy trial. I'm not going to be sitting here for 2 years doing everything and doing all these gymnastics that you want me to do. If you're going to say it's 8 games, give me the 8. If it's 6, give me the 6 and keep it moving. But this perp walk that we doing that's continuously moving, assassinating his character is like, okay, league, you have all the information that you need.
Right.
The woman said 6 games. You obviously want a year. What do you have to think about?
Well,
give them what you're going to give them.
In fairness, Peter Harvey just got the case. So I think, and I sort of thought of this camp too of, well, he's just going to come over the top and give Roger whatever Roger wants, and we're going to have it like that. But Peter Harvey, either they're trying to make it look like he's doing his due diligence, or he's doing his due diligence. But Sue Robinson had all the information for how long before she ruled? What was it, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
More months.
Well, that's fine. But that's fine. No, from the time where like the final papers
deadline
were
for the
filed.
I think it was 3 weeks.
was July 11th.
Yeah.
So from the time
Extended
of
to the 12th, I believe.
of the final papers filed to her until she rendered a decision was multiple weeks.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
So Peter Harvey just got this not that long ago. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that it's been. I mean, trials can go on for months.
I think this is expedited, right? They said it's expedited procedure.
Supposed to be.
My thought process of the thing is like, hey, yeah, Peter C. Harvey is getting the case. We all believing that Peter C. Harvey is really looking at this. He really doing due diligence. He going over. He really doing. He knows what Roger told him to do.
It's unfair to impugn his.
It's his name that's going to be on this.
It's unfair to imply that he's not. We have no reason. I mean, look, you can. It's okay to be suspicious, but do you know Peter C. Harvey?
Hey, I know what Sue Robinson just got done to her. I know what that process looked like.
No, I know.
25 years. We're gonna take what she listened. He picks out 3
So if Peter
words.
C. Harvey comes back tomorrow and says 6 games, now he's cool.
Oh, that's not happening.
But what if it happens?
Are you convinced he's going to be suspended for the year? I'm not.
I'm convinced it's going
I'm
to
not
be
either.
more than 6 games.
It's going to be more than
I'm
6
convinced
games,
of that.
definitely.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum.
I said this Friday. I think the perfect decision, in my mind, is one that neither side is happy with, but both sides can live with.
And at this point, that would be 12 games.
It would be somewhere
10 or
between
12.
6 and 17.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me again. Well, you can't fool me again. In the
Yeah.
words of George W. Bush.
So you're saying so you're not giving Peter C. Harvey the benefit of the doubt
Oh, no.
just because he's the NFL's guy.
No,
Yeah.
they thought you was gonna walk him out here, and we like. There's like, hold on. So we had the woman first. So the woman is like she's doing it for the women, right? And then now we got the black guy. We get the minority guy, bring him out here so we can run that interference. So they got to give him a shot, right? Because he's on a diversity unit. He's doing all. No. We already know what you told him y'all want it done. Now all you got to do is do it in 2 weeks. We don't got to have the whole charade, right? We can just get to it.
But this is still his name that's going on this. And I do believe he will probably carry out what Roger wants, but I think he needs to review all the facts first and he knows history is going to have his name next to
You aren't kidding.
Deshaun Watson. It's not Roger Goodell's name, that's Peter Harvey's name. I think he takes that part of it. I don't know. I'm gonna never have one conversation with him. If it were me, I would take that part very seriously.
And my gosh, G. Bush, I hope you're wrong. I respect your opinion, but I certainly hope you're wrong because if this is truly this charade and everybody's playing out the part that Roger Goodell is the lead director of, and I know that it looks that way already with the 6 games being
Yes.
overturned,
Yeah.
but this is a new person with his own reputation, and I would say no to Roger Goodell. Like if he asked me, my conversation with Roger would be this. Do you really want my opinion? Do you want my decision? Because I'm not going to rubber stamp yours. And Peter C. Harvey is a man of integrity. We don't have no reason to believe that Peter C. Harvey is on the take.
And probably a man of wealth as well. So
And he's where he's at because of Roger Goodell. Let's be clear.
But why would he do? The only thing I would say, like my first reaction is the same as yours, and I still mostly feel that way. But I would say to Jay's point, like, wouldn't he just turn it down if he was going to be a rubber stamp?
I would.
Just Sue Robinson could have turned it down if she knew she was going to have to carry water
But she
for them.
wasn't a rubber stamp. I mean, they turned. She didn't do
She
what the
was
league allowed
agreed
herself
to a
to
long
be.
time ago. She wasn't dropped into this case.
And she did not do what the league wanted. We know that now.
Well, here's the thing. She gave you 6-game suspension, right?
Right.
So they had the level of respect that they said they had, and they thought that she had her judicial reasoning was solid, and the reason why both teams and both sides picked her. Why in God's green earth would you have a woman who's heard all the information give you what she thought, and you turn around and say, well, we're going to take a couple words and then go move on the opposite end of the spectrum?
They did it because
They're going to do what they want to do.
She basically found him guilty, essentially, but said there was no precedence for giving a longer suspension. And so, maybe I'm just giving the league the benefit of the doubt, which I shouldn't. They probably would have reversed it.
No, you were right. I mean, she said you're guilty.
Yeah.
She called it among the worst behavior that she's seen.
She said the league proved its entire case.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she said, but you guys also have a jacked up system of handing out punishments.
Right.
So this is all I can do.
Right.
So to me, Roger gets his way, or he extends the game.
Right.
Or he changes the rules.
The player should have
and
never
in this
agreed to
case,
the
I think
system.
what he's doing is he's saying, yeah, you're right. He's guilty. But no, you're wrong. We can give him more than 6 games.
Right.
And that's what he's looking for.
We got Tim.
Timmy!
All right.
We got Tim Couch, as always, on Monday. Tim, thanks for joining us via the Gridiron Guys hotline. Good to see you. And Tim,
good to see you guys.
take it away.
Tim, your thoughts on Friday's game? Let's start there.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I think, the obvious thing, everything that everyone wants to talk about is Deshaun. How did he look? And just anxious to see him back out on the field for the first time. And, he looked rusty. He overthrew some balls. But, I think at the end of the day, he had a couple drop passes and his day could have been fairly solid. I thought he looked good in the pocket. He moved around well. But, I think the receivers, just kind of let him down. But I think, the biggest thing that jumped out at me was some of these rookies. The plays that they were making out there, they looked like some of these draft picks looked like they're going to be players. Ford looked good. Isaiah Thomas looked good. Emerson had an unbelievable pick 6. So there were some good things in there. I thought the defense looked really good. They were flying around getting to the football. But offensively, they got a long way to go, especially in the passing game.
Tim, you mentioned the drops. They were both by Anthony Schwartz. You mentioned the rookies look good, but Anthony Schwartz was a rookie last year. He was a 3rd-round pick. And right now, to me, he looks like, again, I'm not basing this on just this preseason game. It's mostly based on last year. But the body of work so far, although it's not big, on Anthony Schwartz has been very unimpressive and not worthy of a third-round pick. Are you starting to worry that he is not worthy of that third-round pick, or you need to see a lot more?
Yeah, I definitely am. I kind of, I remember when he was in college, I thought, he was just kind of a speed guy, and the production really never flashed at you. He wasn't a guy that was out, catching the ball consistently and making plays consistently. But once he got the ball in his hands, he was electric. Obviously, he's so fast. But I think it's just like you said, it's been up and down throughout his career. And to start the preseason in week 1 with 2 balls right in your chest, to drop those is not a good look. So hopefully he can get it together and somehow find a way to be a little more consistent out there.
Tim, were you surprised that Jacoby Brissett didn't get any playing time? If it was me, I would want to get out there and get my feet wet a little bit. Now we got 2 games. I know they wanted to give him some reps during the inter-squad stuff with the Eagles, but I was kind of surprised he didn't get no reps. What do you think?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised. I think you're talking about a guy that's obviously going to be your starting quarterback week 1 and in a new system. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. I certainly would have wanted to play. If I were Jacoby, I would have wanted to be out there. But, I guess, I'm sure Stefanski and his staff has a certain plan on how they want to divide up these reps and what they wanted to see. I think they saw some great things from Josh Dobbs. He looked really good, man. He was impressive out there, making plays all over the field, throwing the football really accurately down the field, extending plays with his legs. So he looked really good. But, I think with Jacoby, you want to kind of see what you have. You see it in practice and you see it all that, and he can play the game. He understands the system, but you want to see it in game situations as well. Be out there with the guys, calling the plays in the huddle and live action. So hopefully, this week he can get some more reps and we can kind of see what this offense is going to look like going into week 1.
Tim, Kevin Stefanski's track record has been not really to play the starters early in the preseason. The decision to play Deshaun, I was in favor of it. I had been saying for weeks it kind of made sense to me. Why do you think it was important to them to get him on the field when it's probably going to be quite a while before we see him again? Is that reason enough to put him on the field, or why do you think it was important to them to get him out there and get him a few snaps?
I think it was simply just to knock the rust off a little bit. He hasn't played at all last year. Just who knows when he's going to play again. So it's just an opportunity they had to say, hey, we don't know when he's going to ever be eligible again to play as far as this season goes. So let's get him out there. Let's get him some reps while we can before ruling comes down and maybe he's suspended for the entire season. So let's just knock a little rust off, see what he can do, try to get him somewhat familiar within the system and just get out there, take a hit, see some live action, call the plays. Feel that pace of the game, the speed of the game. So I think that was probably it. I really do. Just as far as, just let's knock a little rust off and try to get him a little more comfortable.
Tim, we talked a little bit about Anthony Schwartz, but I'm going to go 1 to 10 here on the panic meter. 1 is you're not concerned, things are going to be fine. 10 is break glass in case of emergency. Are you breaking the glass yet?
I'm not breaking the glass yet. I'm never going to panic after week 1 of a preseason game. Those kind of games are games where you don't game plan at all for those. You're just out there just calling kind of, just random plays that you've been working on so far of the installation of the system. You're not really specifically game planning for a team and trying to game plan to get the ball to guys in certain situations or anything like that. So I'm not going to panic yet. Certainly, I would love to see more out of the wide receiver group. I think that's probably the weak part of the offense. Your offensive line is strong, the running backs are strong. Feel pretty good about the quarterback position, but that wide receiver group is something that I'm going to be following as the preseason goes on and into the season because it could be certainly a weak spot for this team.
Yeah. Tim, we've talked a lot about the Nick Harris injury. Obviously, he's going to miss the whole season here. We talked about bringing J.C. Treader back. Joel Bitonio suggested that he's not on a team because of his role in the Players Union. What do you think of all that? And do you think they should try to bring him back?
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that Joel had made those comments. Not sure if that plays a factor or not, but certainly that was a tough situation, man, to lose your starting center in week 1 of a preseason game. You hate to see anybody go down, much less a starter. So that's a situation they're going to have to address. That position is so key in the offense. You're talking about a position that's making all the calls up front, getting the guys going in the right direction, changing protections and things like that. So it's there's a lot of communication that happens between the center and the rest of the offensive linemen. So you got to get a guy in there that you feel comfortable with, who's going to gel quickly with the rest of the offensive line and get everyone kind of on the same page up there and kind of get that unit gelled together. So they're going to have to go in some direction here. Hate that this has happened so early in the season, but hopefully they can find somebody to plug in there, and he'll be a good fit.
Tim, I thought it was interesting. The first play of the game, Deshaun rolls to his left, and he sails the ball over Schwartz's head. But I couldn't help but chuckle a little bit, thinking, "Hey, that's Baker Mayfield's trademark." What did you make of that being the first call offensively for the Browns?
Yeah, you wonder if there's something to that. That certainly is. They did a lot of that with Baker rolling to the left, and Baker was pretty good at making some of those throws going in that direction, which is pretty tough on a right-handed quarterback. But, I think Deshaun, when you hadn't played in a while, those are the kind of things that, you see that are going to look rusty within a game when you haven't been in that live action. You're trying to, get your mechanics are really important when you're rolling to the left. You got to really flip your hips, get your shoulders turned. And he just kind of rushed the throw a little bit, and the ball sailed on him. So, I think that's exactly the type of stuff that they wanted to, kind of get him out there and try to knock that rust off a little bit and just see where he's at, physically. And, just because we haven't seen him out there in a while. So I think, calling those type of plays, put him in a tough situation right off the bat. Rolling to the left, trying to hit a crossing route is a very tough throw for a quarterback, especially one who hadn't played in over a year.
Tim, obviously it's been a while since you were a rookie, and the game has changed a ton, even in the 20-some-odd years since you were a rookie. But what is the adjustment like for a rookie, whatever position you may be? I mean, obviously it's different for a quarterback than other positions. Mm-hmm. But what are some of the toughest things about being in your first training camp as a rookie that's different from college?
Yeah, I think, some of the biggest adjustment are just being on a team with older people. You're coming from a team where you were playing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and now you're out there with 30-year-old guys with families, and, jobs are on the line. So you certainly feel the pressure amp up, that you're trying to take a veteran's job as well. They're bringing you in for a reason. Especially, if you're a high draft pick, they're expecting you to play pretty much right away. So you feel those things, and then just kind of, the stuff within the system. You're trying to, get familiar with the terminology within a system, because it's so different probably than what you were running in college. So you're just trying to figure out where to be, calling, being in the right spot, just getting, not making the mental errors. You can't perform up to your level physically that you want to perform at if you don't understand the system and understand where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to line up, how deep is this route supposed to be, or for me, how many step drop is this? I need to find the rhythm and the timing with the offense. So there's a lot of moving parts to it for a rookie when you're coming in. That you feel the pressure obviously of being in the NFL and having to perform and your job's on the line, but also just kind of catching up and getting familiar within the system.
Tim, let me ask you this question, because I think the Cleveland Browns have a really good surrounding cast. I think they got, we talk about the offensive line, they talk about the backs. Philosophically, if you got Jacoby Brissett and you're going to have to run the ball a lot and you're going to have to play really good defense, what do you think? Do you think that in the league today you need a top 5 guy at quarterback or a top 10 guy, fringe guy, and you need to be a pass-dominant offense when you need to? Or do you think you can win a Super Bowl doing other things like maybe, ball control or top defense or just really a really strong running game? Do you think you can do that in today's game a different way than just having a traditional top 10 quarterback?
I think you can win games, throughout the regular season doing that kind of stuff. But I think to go all the way, to make a run deep in the playoffs, get to a Super Bowl and win it, I think you have to have a quarterback that's a difference maker at the end of the day, because, these defenses they're going to take away the run game. If they want to stop your run game, they'll load up the box. They can put the game in the quarterback's hands. And if you don't have a quarterback that can sit in the pocket in today's NFL and consistently make throws and, even extending plays with the legs. We see so many of these quarterbacks now that are so much more mobile than the guys that were playing way back in the day. It's really tough on the defense when you have a quarterback that can do both. So, I think, me personally, I think you do have to have a top flight guy back there with a lot of talent around him, but you have to have a guy that you really trust in those situations. When a game's on the line, you're on the road in a playoff game or whatever, and it's 3rd and 8, you got to have a guy that you can call a play and you trust he's going to stand in there and make the right throw, make the right read, and be accurate with the football, take care of the football in those situations. So yeah, I think you can win a few games here and there in the regular season. You can kind of mask it a little bit, but to get to that next level, I think you have to have a difference maker at the QB position.
Well, then that just begs the question, do they need to go get Jimmy G? And I apologize if we've talked to you about this. I don't remember, but and there's a lot of –
He's a difference maker, though.
Well, and that's where I was gonna go with this. Do you think he's to me, right now, they're downgraded from Baker to Jacoby Brissett. They've downgraded the most important position. Is Jimmy G enough of a difference maker to go get when you factor in? And I don't want to get in the weeds and down the rabbit holes of cap space and trying to roll over cap space, and is Jimmy worth it? Just on this, in a vacuum surface level, is Jimmy G enough of a difference maker in what you're talking about to go get him if it comes back that Deshaun's going to miss most or all of this season?
You know, in my opinion, he would be an upgrade. You know, what they have at the position right now. You know, obviously not including Deshaun, but you know, with the guys that they're going to roll with this season, with Deshaun being out, I think Jimmy G would be an upgrade. And you know, if you look at Jimmy G's career, man, the guy's a winner. You know, I think he is one of those guys that I mentioned that he's going to make plays in the playoff game. This guy is, you know, he's won playoff games. He's taken teams on deep runs in the playoffs. Touchdown interception ratio. There you go, 71-38. He's a guy who takes care of the football. Completes it at a high percentage. So, yeah, I think he would be a certain upgrade at the position if there is going to be a significant suspension for Deshaun. I think you have to look at a guy like Jimmy G and bring him in because I think he really would elevate the offense. You know, he's with the run game that we have, the offensive line that we have, I think Jimmy G would certainly be an upgrade at the position.
But if you believe that you have to have an elite guy, I don't think anybody on this panel is going to argue that Jimmy G is an elite guy. He's an upper half of the league quarterback, no doubt.
I trade for him. As long as Watson's coming back this year, I would trade for Garoppolo.
Right.
If
with
he's
the
not,
thinking being that you still need that elite guy in the playoff run. And Jimmy G has been close, but he hasn't been able to get his team over the hump.
But he's better than Brissett to get you to Watson.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just, you know, I'm just comparing it to what they have on the roster right now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jimmy G is the top 5 or 10 guy. Just what they have to roll with this season. If Deshaun is suspended for an extended period of time, I think Jimmy G would be an upgrade compared to what they have on the roster right now.
So, Bull, you're not going to get Jimmy G if Watson is out for the entire season.
I wouldn't. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with Tim that he's a big upgrade over.
Makes you better,
Brissett.
but he's not going to be the guy that gets you
right
over the
because
top.
I'm ultimately now I'm factoring in the cap stuff. If there was no cap factor, then I'd probably still do it anyway.
Right.
But because of the cap and how much of a hit that could take for next year, I would only do that if I still thought I could win the Super Bowl this year. I personally don't think they can win the Super Bowl with Garoppolo. But if, say, Watson suspended 12 games, I think Garoppolo gives them a better chance to give Watson a chance to get them to the Super Bowl.
Jay, I know you said take the cap stuff out of it.
It's impossible to do.
Yeah.
You can't take the cap stuff out of it. I don't see how they manage both. I don't see how they bring Garoppolo on.
Well, we have to get to the bottom. First of all, we need to see the suspension, and we need to see how it relates back to the CBA, because I can tell you nobody knows the answer right now in terms of does the contract toll, when does the contract toll, when does it count for this year?
So if he's suspended for this year, is his salary $1 million for next year?
If it's an entire year, the contract, I believe, tolls.
Shifts. And then next year he's only on the books for $1 million.
And then his cap hit for next year would be $10 million.
And then you could do the Garoppolo
And you
deal.
could do the Garoppolo because he's only a $10 million hit on the cap next year.
Yeah.
If it's anything less than a full season, I think right now, I think there's a lot of people that don't really know the answers.
Maybe.
Well, listen. Hey, if it's a 10% chance, right? I didn't talk myself into it. You know, I'm good at that. It's like me going to a car lot. You know what? I wasn't going to even buy that, Tim. But now I'm buying it. Listen, if there's a 10% chance that he can get you to a Super Bowl, I do whatever the hell it takes. Give me, because to me, it's 3 years, right? Right? It could be 2 in a possible that the Browns are got where they need to be going. It's this year, next year. Watson thing happened. We was thinking he gonna play. He ain't playing. But if it's only a 10% chance, I don't care about nobody's money. I'll spend all of y'all's money. If you ask me where I want to go, I'm not telling Tim Couch I want to go to TJI Fridays. I want to go to Morton's, Tim. Come on now. I know you got it. Come on now. Come on, man. I'm spending all of y'all's money. So, no, I'll take Garoppolo.
But there are ramifications when you build your team.
I'll let them figure it out.
Let's worry about that next year.
We'll worry about
I know you say you're the assistant GM. Bro, you're never going to be the GM until you start thinking about the cap.
I don't want that smoke anyway. I want to be the underboss.
Hey, we got to get to the most important question, Tim. So Tim is going to be in the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Fantasy Football League. Have you ever, and Tim is one of 2 former Browns players, including Leroy Horde, who will be in this league. Jason's in it. G is in it. Jay, for some reason, can't be in it because
it's
so
not up
stupid.
to me.
It's not your fault.
It's my primary employer.
It's a silly rule, but whatever. It's not your fault. But Tim, have you played fantasy football before?
Literally have no idea what I'm doing. Never played fantasy football.
Really?
I'm going to be so bad at this, guys. It's going to be laughable. So,
This is awesome.
Watch, he's going to end up winning the league.
Oh,
He's going to end up winning the league.
I'm supposed to be the dude that has no clue about fantasy football. I don't already golf, but Tim, you got to kind of know.
I've been playing fantasy
about
football
this.
for 20 years, man. I'm going to kill all
I've got
you
a
guys.
14-team league trophy in my man cave.
There
right
you
now.
go.
It's a traveling trophy.
I can't believe you can't be in it.
I'm still.
So dumb.
It's not. I'm
That
still
hurts.
trying to pull some
Yeah,
strings
let's
here.
straighten
Mike
things
Polk
out.
can't do it either.
Yeah, I know.
It's,
Anyway.
we don't want to infringe on our journalistic
So,
integrity.
Tim, are you prep? Are you deep into fantasy prep right now, getting ready for this draft?
I haven't even looked at it, to be quite honest with you.
Put it off until 10 minutes before the draft. Select
Yeah, I'll
auto
figure it
draft
out.
and just let the computer do it for you.
I wanna
That's what I
leave
tell
one time.
newcomers.
Yeah,
I wanna
right.
leave one
Get
time
on one of
doing
these websites and just go off whatever they recommend, man. That's what
You
I'm
watch,
doing.
he's going to win the league. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
right.
He's the dark horse
Beginner's
to win
luck.
the damn league. Because he's that guy who's going to pretend like he knows nothing,
Yeah.
but his knowledge of the game is going to take over
That
at
is an
some point.
advantage.
And he's going to ride this thing to the top. Hey, I got to get your thoughts on the kicker. We haven't talked about my guy
He
yet.
made a field goal.
We haven't
and 3
talked
extra
about my
points.
guy
Yeah.
yet. I thought the kicking game looked great, and I'm not just talking about the extra points and the field goal.
Yeah.
But I liked what he did on kickoffs. It was obvious to me that they had told him for one of the kickoffs, put it between
Right,
the
right.
5 and the goal line.
Yeah.
He did it. And then I wanted to see how strong his leg was, and I think the Browns did too, and they said the next one, lay into it, and he almost kicked it out of the end zone.
Certainly better than the return game early, which looked awful.
Yeah, the return game is
Yeah.
all kinds of
Jamarcus
drama.
Why wasn't
Bradley.
Felton back there, by the way? Do we have any clarity on that?
On what?
The returns.
No. We have nothing. We have no clarity on that, do we?
I didn't. What was the question?
Clarity on what they're going to do with returns on the
Because
return
Felton
game.
wasn't back there returning kicks.
No, I don't know why we
But
didn't.
he
see
was
it.
in practice.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I think it's probably just the same thing, trying to limit the injury risk, but particularly after Jakeem Grant goes down. I think Felton's going to wind up being the guy.
You do.
He was doing it at practice.
You a believer in Cade York, Tim? You all in
like
on
the
him?
kicker?
Yeah, I mean, so far, I like what I see so far. That's subject to change with a kicker at any point, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you got to
can
earn
turn
your
on those
keep
guys.
every day as a kicker.
Are kickers real
Yeah.
football players, Tim?
Tough life.
Are kickers real football players?
I tell you what, they are when they trot out there with no time left on the clock, and you're counting on them to win a game. They become
true.
real football players real quick for you at that point.
Yeah.
It is, after all, called football.
Yeah.
So
Should,
I
they
mean,
should change the name.
if you don't think kicking's a big part of it, you're missing
We
something.
should change the name to pass ball. I mean, that's what it
McNuggets is raising his hand in there. Do you think they're players, kickers?
Oh, kickers are definitely players. So are punters. We have a comment from YouTube from Kid Wilson that wants to give Tim some fantasy advice.
Okay.
How to win fantasy football. Don't draft any Browns.
Oh, that hurts.
That's not true, though.
Nick
I
Chubb?
actually disagree
Yeah,
with
but you
that,
know what?
yeah.
Chubb
Yeah,
is not a
I
great
would take
fantasy
Nick
He's
player.
a better
He's
NFL
not.
player than fantasy
Yeah,
player.
he is a
Yes.
much better. Just
He's a
because,
good fantasy player, but he's not an elite
he's not-
fantasy
yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Wait, Tim, I do have a question for you, though. Throughout your career, can you think back? Do you have any vivid memories of a preseason game? Is there one moment throughout your preseason career that stands out, or as a guy who was starting in the league, do those games just kind of go in one ear and out the other?
Really, about the only preseason game I can remember is my very first one, because we played in the Hall of Fame game,
Yep.
and we got to play against the Dallas Cowboys.
was there.
And that's when they still had Aikman and Emmett and Irvin and those guys. They were at the end of that run, obviously. But I grew up loving those guys, big Troy Aikman fan, and I got to play against them in my first game, and we won the game on a field goal to win the game and at the end. So that one stands out. But to be honest with you, I don't remember any more preseason games that I ever played in. So those are pretty much, you just wash them out of your memory.
Doesn't that tell you how much the game has changed? That Troy Aikman played in the Hall of Fame game in that year? I mean, a guy like that would never have played now in the Hall of Fame game, a veteran player like that.
Trevor Lawrence wouldn't even play.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're
Trevor
right.
Lawrence was terrible as a rookie who needs some work. But a guy like Troy Aikman, who was already on his way to the Hall of Fame, would have never played in the Hall of Fame game. But the game has changed.
Hey, and speaking of kickers, I know he's a punter, and I don't know if you can call this up on tag board.
We can't legally play it, but the 82-yard punt
I
from the
thought we
Bills,
could if it was on, as long as it was through tag board.
not if it's game highlights.
Dude, that was one of the best punted footballs I have ever seen in my life.
He
He
punted
struck it
further
on
than
the
Tim could throw
7-yard
it.
line, and it ended up out of the end zone. It traveled over.
Absurd.
It traveled 100 yards. Really.
Tim, have you seen this?
I have, yeah, I saw it on Twitter. The guy from the Bills, right?
He
Yeah.
smoked that ball.
Yeah, just unbelievable, man. Yeah.
I can't believe we can't show it. That stinks, man.
Nope.
These
What are you gonna
restrictions are garbage.
Fine.
Yeah.
Flat garbage. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, the NFL needs our money.
Yeah, right. They're not,
Get
they're
over
not
yourself.
collecting enough. All right.
Morons.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, Tim, you're awesome,
right, guys.
bro. Good luck. Hey, you know
Thanks,
what? I
guys.
can't have a team, but I will be your general manager. If you need any advice on trades on draft day, you got my number. Horn me in.
That's
I'll get you through this thing.
That's collusion.
I don't know what you're talking about. Deny, deny,
You
deny.
could get Mike Polk. If Jay gets Tim, you get Mike Polk as your consultant.
That's cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's cool.
Thanks, Tim.
Garrett's got the wrong end of that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Polk's like hitting 70% of his good bet, bad bet.
Yeah, that's
So
just luck.
he's doing something right.
That's just luck.
Thanks, Tim.
Tim, you're the best, man.
All right,
Thanks, brother.
See you guys. Thank you.